I'm Gavin from Spitfire Engineering and this is episode 7. Now in this episode, it's one for the geeks. This has got lots of folding in it, we've got lots of final assembly on the picking line, which we're currently sat in, and also how tricky it was to get it outside the workshop. Also in this episode, we've had a new order from a company called Glass, which is based in Rainham down near London. Now that's a small family business, they share the same values as us, and they recycle glass, and we're building a trommel for them, so that will come up in future episodes. Now Glass is a company, as I say, based in the southeast of England. They collect glass for recycling from all over the southeast. They've got their own haulage company, and if you are based in the southeast and you need someone to get rid of your glass, you've got waste glass that you want to get rid of, you probably need to be speaking to Glass. Right, let's get cracking then. Afternoon both.
How you doing, Gavin? You right?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Very well.
As soon as we knew it was going to work, that's when obviously we made contact again, and yeah, now we're ready to press ahead and get this running.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you've come back. What I'll do is I'll share the screen now onto the actual CAD design. Just find it. Here it is. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is it in it's still got a few bits and bobs to finish off, and some of the things that we want to discuss are which side you want the greedy board and which side you want the bunker and all that sort of thing. So I'll let George do a spin round on it to sort of just show you all the details and that sort of bits and bobs.
Got your bunkers at the bottom here, which Gav said we can swap them either side. That's up to you at this stage in the game, what way you want them. I believe you've got a drawing Andrea sent over, nothing's changed on that, so if you've got one in front of you it'll be identical. Yours is different to mine. So you've got 2 meters underneath, and your bunker will sit 3 meters 400 wide, and then you'll have enough height underneath and that to have somebody turn it off and on the control box, which will be mounted here. We can have it facing this way, or yet again you can have it facing outwards. It's whatever you boys works the best for you.
We can move it onto the side if that helps.
Yeah.
You think have it on the outside?
Have it here instead. Same height, just on one of the side walls instead.
Yeah.
Would you want it this orientation, or would you want the bunker the other side?
Yeah, no, so obviously we did mention this earlier. Can we have it? So at the minute I'd say this is right-handed. We need it left-handed, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we swap round.
So we'll spin that round so it's open from the other side. That's no problem. And then put the
It's easy as that, isn't it, really? Just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Put the ball on the outside and spin it.
yeah, no, we can change that around. That's no problem.
And then have the greedy board up here facing the same way as well.
Yes, please,
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that.
So can we raise that bunker from what have we got, 2 meters underneath?
Yeah, yeah, I can't see why not. That'll then put your brush on the other side as well if you're swapping your orientation. So that brush will be on this way, but they are interchangeable anyway. You see, you've got holes here it picks up on.
I can't think of anything else that we need to ask, to be honest.
Yeah, no, like I say, I'm happy with the design, the application, and yeah, the questions I've asked.
So in the main workshop, Stefan's cracking on with the steps for the oil screen. This is nearly done now. This is the first set of stairs going up to the platform. And as I said, these stairs will go just here across and then back down. So this is one set of stairs here. Got the platform already made. So we're going to get them stairs made so we can get access up to the top, and then continue with the walkways around this frame. and we'll show you when we've done a bit more of that. Neil and Dan are nearly finished the subframes for the 4 conveyors to go to France. So this is going to be the main subframe, and the conveyor will sit on top of this. So these are nearly done. These are the 2 bigger frames for the 2 bigger conveyors, and this is going to be for the smaller conveyor, I think. I think this is the smaller conveyor. Maybe wrong. Not quite sure, to be honest. Archie's been running the plasma cutter, grinding through the sheets. As I say, there's quite a few sheets of material for these 4 conveyors. So these components are going to be for the 4 conveyors, and we've already got some cut over here, all stacked up. So once these are cut, we're going to get these cleaned up, get the brake press dialed in, and we're going to fold all these as one. So we get it set up once, and we fold everything for the 4 conveyors all in one hit. And we're going to get the GoPro set up so you can see how it all goes. So got Archie with me. Now if you remember Archie last week, in the last episode, he did some filming on the cutover and just described some of the things that were going on the cutover. So we're just looking at this job now. We've got all the material cut, we're now going to fold it. So if I just flip the camera around, you can see the drawings that have come through from the office through to the workshop, and we'll explain how we interpret the drawings and how we set the brake press to then fold the side panels for the conveyor. So this is an overall picture of the conveyor. You can see this is how it's going to look when it's all built up. Remember earlier on that I showed you the subframes. We can just about make out the subframes on here, and the subframe's going to run underneath the conveyor. So it's 100x50 channel that makes up the subframe underneath, and what happens then is these panels that we're just about to fold then get bolted to the top of that subframe. So the drawings that we've got for the side panels are here. So the panels that we've cut out on cutover look very similar to that, and we've got some key dimensions on here that we're going to fold to. So it tells us that we need to fold this up 90 degrees and this one up 90 degrees, and the distance from the edge to the center of the fold on this one is 53.96, and the same as this one here, 53.96. So actually this is a really easy program to put in the brake press. 90 degrees, thickness of material, 53.96 mil. So we're going to put that into the brake press and start folding. Just speaking to Archie, he's going to start on the smaller ones first. These are going to be the head and tail sections. So we're going to fold this first. It's still the same 54.93 on both of these. Obviously it's different to what the bigger one is, which is 53.96. Very close. Don't know why it's different, but it is. So we're going to fold the smaller ones first, just to get the brake press truly dialed in before we go for the big sheets. And what we're actually going to end up with is this. So we've taken a flat panel, we're going to put a fold along here and a fold at the top to create a C section. So it'll be like that when it's done. And then these plates here will then get welded in afterwards. So we're going to fold these smaller sections first, and then we'll go on to these bigger sections. We've got different drawings because there's some slightly different ones. Left and right-handed panels. So for instance, we have to be a bit careful on this one, because the obvious one that jumps out is this cutout here is not, it's not symmetrical, this part. So obviously on one side we want these to fold up one way, and on the other side we want them to fold down, so that when we put the two sides together we've got a left and a right-handed piece, which is why we have equal left and right hand on the drawing, so that we know when we fold these we need one of each. We've also got some other smaller sections here, which is very similar to the one that we just showed you a minute ago, but this is the head section. The one I showed you a minute ago was for the tail section, and it's going to look very similar but ever so slightly different. So yeah, let's get the brake press dialed in and get these folded. Okay, to set the brake press we've got 54.93, 54.93. It's 3mm material, and we need to go to 90 degrees. So we'll just come across to the controller on the brake press. Just make sure you can see that. So we're changing the angle to 90. Changing the back gauge to 54.96. 54.93.
Yeah.
Okay, we're set to 3mm on the actual material thickness here. The top and bottom dies have already been set. Angle corrections, already done test pieces to dial it in. So if we press start, and that brings everything towards us. Okay, so we're all set. The material's up against the backstops. The backstops here, when we talk about 54.93, what we're actually talking about is from the backstop here to the centre line of the bottom V, which is where the centre of the fold's going to be, is actually 54.93. So that's what we mean when we say a dimension. So let's put this in here now, hard up against the backstops like that, and then we'll fold it. So now we've done that, we'll check the 90. So we just checked 90 degrees, both ends. Absolutely bang on this end. Just check the other end and that's the same. So what we'll do now, we'll spin it around and do the fold on the other side. So we'll just double check the 90 on there. All good, Arch?
Hang on again.
Okie doke.
Hang on again.
Okay, and we'll just double check the outside measurements because on the drawing we have got a measurement. It's not actually on that drawing, is it?
No, 554 is what we need.
Okay, so we're looking for 554. And that is absolutely bang on what we want. Okay, so we're happy with the brake press settings. We're going to crack on now. We're going to get the GoPro in action now on a time lapse. We're going to get these bits folded. So these are the folded sections that you've just seen on the time lapse. All done. Archie's checked the dimensions. Everything's as it should be. The critical dimensions on these really is to make sure that the distance between that end, there and there, matches up with the other end, because obviously these are going to be put end on end and all fitted along the subframe of the conveyor. So obviously if we end up with any movement on any of the dimensions, nothing matches up. So it's important that these dimensions remain the same, both ends, and on all the components. So when these do get bolted together, there's no steps in any of the panel work and everything runs through seamlessly. Now last week I posed a question. There's a lot of surface area on this mobile picking line, and I asked the question, how much paint do you think we've used in painting this machine? Some of you answered in the comments, and the answer is 45 litres in total of base primer and top coat. So let's see who's closest. On the oil screen, Stefan was in yesterday and he started fitting the GRP steps. So we've now got steps that take us all the way up here. And all the way to the top. And then we've got some of the walkway here where we'll continue round. So the walkway is going to continue along here, across and across, and then at the end as well. So we're getting on with that now. One thing that I've spotted this morning, I don't like these handrails where they don't match up, so we'll cut this handrail back to here, just shorten that down there so that matches up nice. I don't know quite what's gone wrong there, whether these handrails should have been further down, I don't know, but we'll get that changed because I don't like that. But yeah, we're getting there with this now. The plan is next week is to finish getting the walkway and the handrail up on here, or to be honest, now that they've got as far as they've got, what we'll probably do is probably tidy up the handrail around the top here, now that we've got it in this position, and then once we've got the next step past the steps done, we'll get rid of the steps, get rid of this platform, and then lower it down, because this is designed as a top and a bottom piece. So what we'll do is we'll get rid of the two bottom pieces so we can lower everything down, and then we can finish the walkway and the two screen boxes when it's closer to the ground. There's no point in working all the way up here on it. We might as well get it down close to the ground so it's just easier to work on. So yeah, we should crack on with this next week, get the walkways done and start thinking about getting the boxes on top. Frustratingly, on these steps, when we designed it, we actually gave the supplier the correct dimensions for the steps, so we weren't cutting them here. We tried to avoid us cutting them. So they were designed, the measurements sent off to the supplier, and they came in, well, they weren't even close, to be honest. They were 10mm too wide and about 50mm too deep. So frustratingly for us, we've tried to avoid cutting them, but it looks like we've had to cut them anyway. So we've had a word with the supplier. They've given us a little bit of a credit note on them to cover our time to cut them. In the grand scheme of things, it's probably not the end of the world. It's just frustrating when you go to all that effort to make sure that things are right. You ask your suppliers to sort of do what they can, and then we end up having to put it right in the end, which is frustrating. But it is what it is. We move on. So the mobile picking line is now outside, nearly sorted, and the saga of this, diesel, electric, diesel, continues, but we think we've got to the bottom of it now. Today we have had email notification that the customer in Scotland is going ahead with it. We're literally just waiting for the purchase order to land. It's been signed off, we're just waiting for the purchase order to land. And although we've made plans to turn this into a diesel machine, we've not actually done anything yet that confirms this is a diesel machine. So although we've got stuff in place, ready to go, what we're going to do is we're now going to forge ahead with this one as an electric machine, and we will make a diesel one. We're going to put that into the build schedule. So once we've cleared up some of these other big projects, we're going to build another one that will be diesel, and that one will be our hire and demo machine. And what we'll probably do is, on that one, we will document the build fully from the start, because this one we started filming halfway through. So once we do the next one, we'll get it all on film and you'll be able to see how we build this machine here from start to finish. So this is the hopper for the picking line. This will go on the far end of the picking line. So this will bolt on, and this is where the material will be dropped onto the picking line, and then the material will travel up through the hopper, through that opening there, and then go up the belt and actually into the picking cabin. So now we've got a clear direction and where we're going to go with this now, electric, diesel. We can now crack on and get everything in place for this. So the head drum's now back from the lagging, and we hadn't fitted it yet because if we were going to go to diesel drive, we were potentially going to have to machine the shaft down to suit the gearbox that was going to be powered by hydraulics. So we'd already sorted out for electrics, and we know what the gearbox is going to be on that. So we'd made the head drum to suit the electric drive, and then when we thought we were going to go to hydraulic drive, we'd held off fitting it because we thought we were going to have to remachine the shaft to accept the hydraulic gearbox. But luckily now it's going to electric. We can now fit the head drum, we can get the belt on, and we can really crack on and get things finished. I'm not sure if I'd mentioned before, may have mentioned it, may have not. To power the hydraulics on this, we're going to put a petrol engine underneath at the back of the drawbar on the front. So I'll just show you where that's going to go. So we're underneath now, and the idea is that we're going to have a hydraulic tank and a petrol engine driving a hydraulic pump here, and those will power the legs and the steps. So we've got hydraulic rams that are going to lift the steps up and down. The 4 jack legs in the corners are going to have hydraulic rams on it, and they will be powered by the petrol engine driven power pack just here. So we can now get that fitted on here and start plumbing up the hydraulics. So they've loosely fitted the belt at the minute. This is a C25 chevron, which means that it's a chevron. You can see the cleats on the belt in like a V shape, and they're 25mm high. So we were worried about this incline here. We wanted to keep the machine short, so we've got a relatively steep incline, and we were worried about material rolling back down here. Get some material will be fine, some material, depending on what it is, could potentially roll back. So we've gone for the C25 chevron to make sure that it's a positive drive to pull the material up. So we've got that on now, and as I say, we've still got the tail drum to fit, but we've got the hopper on now. Got the greedy boards on. These bearings are due to be changed. The supplier has sent the wrong bearings and the lads hadn't realised until they'd got them fitted. We've ordered specific bearings because on all of these exposed shafts here, we can't have these exposed shafts near where people are working. So we've got special bearings. So they're not really that special, but they're just different bearings to what we would probably normally use, and they're going to have the plastic caps that go over the ends so that when that shaft rotates inside, it's protected and nobody can get anything caught in there. So just waiting for the customer to turn up, have a look at it, see if this is a machine he would like. So this bit here that looks like a roller coaster, this is one of the subframes for one of the larger conveyors to go to France. We've got two big conveyors, two smaller conveyors. Big ones are identical, smaller ones are identical. And this is one of the subframes for that. So that one's been done. Second one is in the workshop, currently being made up. And we've got Rob next door in the small fab. He is making up the conveyor side panels, which I'll show you in a minute. We're just walking around the yard. I think you've seen most of this. As you can see, stuff just gets moved around because we're short of space. But hopefully we're going to resolve that soon. Colin's cutting on here. What are we cutting on here? Various different pieces for head and tail drums for conveyors by the looks of it. So Rob's making up the conveyor side panels, which Archie folded yesterday. So just welding these on here now. Welding plates on the ends here. Got some more folded pieces there to be done, and then these ones are finished. So we've welded these end plates on. There's a nut in the middle. It's welded on behind that hole. And the idea behind that is there will be a bearing sat here. And that is the grease hole, so you've got access to the bearing. So the nut is there because there'll be like a teardrop plate. They'll be bolted on the far side of that. And so to grease it, you'll just undo the nut, swing the plate out of the way, grease it, and it just covers it all up when we're done. So Rob's going to start welding these up now. And then we can get these painted. And once these subframes are finished, we'll be able to start putting these conveyors together. Because these are going out the door in about 4-5 weeks, I think. So if you remember in the last episode, I was talking about this area here. We now have a plan in place. Just need to talk to the landlord about it. And if he gives us the green light, it'll be all systems go to get this covered in, give us some more workshop space. So one of the advantages we've got here at Spitfire is we've got our own service engineers. And Jam here, now let me just clear up. Jam, Jamo. They're both Jamies. We had 3 Jamies at one point, only for a very short time, but we did actually have 3 Jamies. So we've got Jam and Jamo. Jamo's team leader in post-fab, Jam, service engineer out on the road. Jam's not normally in here, he's normally out on the road fixing things, but today he's finished early, he's in the yard, and we've got a problem with one of our forklifts. Got a water leak, so he's just going to have a quick look at what the problem is on the forklift and see if he can fix it. So what's the problem with this then, Jam?
Water leak.
Whereabouts is it leaking from?
Thermostat housing.
Yeah? Nice
Yeah.
easy fix?
Hopefully, should be able to put some sealant on it, and it should fix.
Excellent. That's what we like, nice easy fixes on our own stuff. Bit more involved than other people's, but nice easy fix on ours. That's what we like.
Yeah.
Nice one. So it's Saturday and I'm in the yard. I wasn't here yesterday, but the lads were in and they were just doing some finishing touches just for now to the mobile picking line. Got a customer coming in a minute, coming from out the country, coming to have a look at this machine. He's interested in this machine. So the lads have put the belt on, they've put the side skirts on, the greedy boards, and also the bottom hopper, just so the customer can come and have a look and see what it's going to be like when it's finished. Now we haven't got the tail roller in yet because we're still waiting for that to be machined before we can fit it, but it gives you an idea of what it's going to look like when it's finished. Let me just flip the camera and I'll show you. So that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching. We are now at 19,000 subscribers, so that's a big thank you from all of us here at Spitfire for everybody that's subscribed. We love the comments and keep them coming. Now anybody that's been paying attention to other YouTube channels will notice that we've put a shout out to Harry at Tironi Metals for a picking line. A meeting is planned in the coming weeks. We'll keep you updated as we go on that one. Now I said this week was one for the geeks. Next week is going to be one for the super geeks because I'm in the workshop next week. I'm working in the workshop next week. We're working on the 4 conveyors to go to France. We're a little bit short staffed. We need to stay on schedule. So I'm in the workshop next week and I'm going to be in there getting as much footage as I can of the build of the conveyors. So thank you all for watching again and we'll see you on the next episode. Are you clear?